Hello everyone and welcome to a new week of Road to TCG Worlds 2016. Now, as a lot of you probably know, City Championships are well underway now. There were a lot this past weekend if you are watching the video this Monday. And yeah, there's been a lot of variety in the winning decks, to be honest. There's been Manectrix, there's been Eviltals, there's been Night March. There's been so many different decks that it's hard to pinpoint something that is clearly at the top, you know? A lot of the choices seem a lot of the decks that are doing well seem to depend hugely on the local metagames. So I can't really say if there's a clear-cut choice on what deck to use for City Championships if you want to have the best chance at winning one. I'd say a consistent deck which isn't too weak to the decks that are present in your local metagame would be the best choice. Now, I know there wasn't a poll this last week. It's because I've been very busy and I just would not have been able to find the time to get all the cards for a super novelty deck, but I do have quite a few choices in mind for next week, so bear with me this week, guys. We are using Night March. It is a deck that I've really wanted to use because I keep losing to the deck. I don't think I've beat it too many times in the channel since I started recording the videos, so it's a deck I really wanted to explore for now. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with the strategy, so feel free to skip ahead to the first game, but I'm gonna go through the deck list quite quickly. We have two Pumpkaboos, which are one of the main attackers. We have the Night March attack, 20 damage times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile that have the Night March attack. We have Dimension Valley and Battle Compressor to support Pumpkaboo. And we also have Joltik as a secondary attacker. Its attack costs 1 colorless energy less. It does exactly the same, but it's also a 30 HP basic, so very fragile. Now, aside from that, we are running 4 Lampent, which have the Night March attack. Litwick doesn't have it, and since evolving and attaching psychic energy would be too slow for the deck, you only have these guys to discard them. You never really use them for anything else. Now, as far as techs go, we have one Jirachi promo, which is amazing thanks to Stardust. If this card had been legal last format before Worlds, I'm pretty sure the metagame would have been completely different, because this card alone pretty much 100% sure counters all the Seismitoad and all the Giratina decks, which give trouble to Night March. So this is the perfect counter to those cards. Now, as far as support, we are also using a 1/1 Bronzer line because Giratina can still be an issue. Getting energy off of the discard pile to power up your attackers is pretty amazing in this deck, especially because you are only limited to 4 double colorless energy. It's either use this or Milotic to recover them, but using Bronzong also allows you to bypass Sage Slash and Giratina without the need of Hex Maniac. Now, finally, we have 3 Shaymin EX, one more over the standard 2 we've been running every week, but this deck can afford the bench space and really needs to get going. Why? Because as you'll see, I know I always complain about supporters, and in this deck I'm only running 2 copies of Sycamore here. Only 2 copies. That is pretty new to me, especially because I don't know, I don't feel comfortable, and if you price both of them you'll be in huge trouble. But with the speed of the deck, you can compensate for that. I'll get into the speed of the deck in a little bit. We also have teammates, so that functions kind of like draw, but one of your Pokemon has to be knocked out the previous turn before you are able to use it. Now, only 1 Lysander, which is something I'm not very comfortable with. I'd love to run 2, but for now 1 is fine. And Hex Maniac, you want to turn off Shaymins, you sometimes want to use more Hex Maniac than Sycamore even, to slow down your opponent, so 1 copy of each. Of course, all of these can be reused with Versus Seeker. Versus Seeker is one of the key components in the deck. that allows you to combine it with Battle Compressor so that you can choose easily what supporter you need for the turn. And these guys, which are maxed at 4, also help you get all the Night Marchers you need in your discard pile to get the one-hit KOs. Now, I am not running Muscle Band in this list, but a quick change you could make would be to drop 1 dimension value, because I am running 4, but you do have Bronzong. And perhaps an Acro Bike for 2 Muscle Bands if you feel then that the extra damage output is necessary. And finally, like I was saying, along with Battle Compressor, we have 4 Trainer's Mail to dig deeper into our deck, and 4 Acro Bike, which also help thin out our deck. 4 Ultra Ball to get all the Pokemon we need out, especially Shaman in the early turns. 2 Revive, so that you can discard the Night Marchers much more easily and deal enough damage to take one hit KOs, and then be safe by getting back another attacker. And finally, 3 ways to switch out the active Pokemon, because Bronzong is a very big target for Lysander. Escape Rope, Float Stone, and Switch. Now, in terms of energy, we have the mandatory 4 double colorless energy. These are crucial, and I can already tell throughout the week there will for sure be turns where I whiff on the DCE for wins or to get back into games. And 4 metal energy so that we can abuse Bronzong to its maximum potential. Now, with that in mind, let's get right into our first game of the day, shall we? Now, I don't know if any of you guys also follow me on the video game part, but I did win a tournament on Saturday. I won the Premier Challenge. At the time I am recording this, there is also a regional on Sunday. Today is Saturday. I won the Premier Challenge today. Tomorrow is the regional, and I'm a bit nervous, to be honest. I really am. I finally performed today, although it was the smallest Premier Challenge of the season. There were only 17 players, but there were still some very, very good opponents there. A lot of high caliber players. And yeah, pretty happy with my performance. Now, right off the bat, we start off with a pretty decent hand. The thing is, I'm not entirely sure who to start with. I'm inclined to start with Pumpkaboo just because of the 60 HP. We are going second, I believe. Oh, it's a Crobat deck, so we might be in a bit of trouble. Now, let's see here. I'm gonna Ultra Ball my 2 Night Marchers away. I do want to count how many. I will get Shaman here, but I want to count how many Night Marchers are in the deck. We know there's 2 Pumpkaboo, 1 Joltik, 2 Joltik, 1 Lampent, 3 Joltik. So 3-3-1, 3-3-2, and 4-3-2. Wow, there's 4-3-3. Okay, so I'm gonna get Shaman here. Now, with Battle Compressor, I am going to thin out my deck of the 3 Lampents, and with the other one I will get rid of a couple of Joltiks, because since we are facing a Crobat deck, I don't want to give my opponent free prizes with Joltik. And I mean, Hex Maniac will be very important for us as well, but I also need to get damage, potential damage. And let me check. 1 Sycamore. Yeah, I'm gonna discard the Sycamore and a mental energy. The Sycamore looks weird to discard, but it makes it so every Versus Seeker is a potential Sycamore now. Now, let me check on the Bronzong line. Okay, so the Bronzong line is available to us. That is great. That's what I should be doing every single video. And I also wanted to thank you guys for all the likes I got in the last Mega Sceptile video. You guys really came through, and I'd love it if you could pull through once again throughout this week. If you guys can manage 30 likes on each English video this week, I will be very, very grateful. Now let's see here. I'm gonna play the Acro Bike. Get the switch. Nope. Get the trainer's mail. Now see, this is where it gets confusing a bit to me, because I don't know how deep to dig, you know? Okay, gonna get rid of these two. I am down to only one way to retreat Bronzong if it gets pulled up, which is definitely not ideal though. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Night Marchers in the discard pile. Gonna play this guy. I'm gonna attach the DCE, and as you can see from our deck count, we're gonna be pretty low after this turn. I also get another DCE. I'm not gonna play down the Joltik. I don't think my opponent will be able to KO me, and I think this is all I'm gonna do for now. Although I might want to play Hex Maniac actually. Okay, that's perfect. I get the Float Stone, so I can attach that to Bronzer right away. And we have our mandatory pair of Versus Seekers. This is all I'm gonna do now. I don't want Joltik to be dragged up and be KO'd somehow. I think this is a Lucario Bats deck, so I might even want to discard the Joltik through Sycamore next turn. And this is pretty amazing. Without using a single supporter, look how far we went into our deck. And yeah, my opponent Sycamores out of desperation. We are putting a lot of pressure. That's 2 of the Crobat line out of the way, which is always nice. There's another Zubat. I think we're gonna take a KO this turn on a Zubat, which is great because that means 1 less Crobat to threaten our low HP Pokemon. And yep, all my opponent does is kill dive. Now I think I'd rather use the revive now. I don't really need that many Night Marchers in my discard pile right now. Gonna get the Pumpkaboo attached to that and use Sycamore to discard the Joltik. That seems like a very good play, instead of benching the Joltik and attaching to that. Now we do get the Jirachi, we get the Pumpkaboo. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Night Marchers. 6 Night Marchers. I don't think we'll be needing Jirachi this game. I wish I could get Bronzong. If I got Bronzong out at this point, I think we would be guaranteed the win. We don't, but I do get a Dimension Valley. I'm gonna take it just in case he gets another stadium to counter ours. And I'm just gonna Night March for the KO here. I'm not too threatened by my opponent. I don't know what he has in his deck, but we do have the Float Stone. We have another Pumpkaboo, so I'm gonna wait it out a little bit. Getting that Lampent is great if we manage to get an Ultra Ball to get Bronzong out. I think we've played 2 Ultra Balls, so there's 2 of them left. Could also potentially draw our Versus Seeker and Sycamore them away as well, but we're in a pretty good position here. There's the Lucario, so he can evolve, attach, and take the KO, which it seems like that is what he's going to do. Smartly puts the damage on the benched Pumpkaboo. Now, fortunately, I do have the follow-up Pumpkaboo. Now, if he gets a Focus Sash here, I will be in a lot of trouble. He could also potentially get a red card, but I don't think anybody runs those but me. Gets a level ball. Okay, so no Focus Sash. That is great news for us. Otherwise, we would have 2-hit KO'd this Lucario X, and that's when trouble starts for us. Sorry, I'm yawning once again, guys. Like I said in the video on Friday, and I will say it again today, I am having a bit of trouble balancing everything in my life right now, so bear with me, please. Please, please bear with me. Now, there's a Float Stone for the free retreat. We top deck the Lysandre. Gonna bench the other Pumpkaboo. Gonna attach to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Night Marchers, which is great. That's more than enough damage. Gonna use the Acro Bike, dig a little bit deeper to get the Versus Seeker, which is awesome. Now, I think with that, I will be discarding the Hex Maniac and using it because I really don't want him to damage me further with okay, Hex Maniac is not in play. Okay, gonna get the teammates then. And I think that's it. Yep. Just gonna discard the teammates, have it as an option for later on. Do I want to Venturacci? No. I'm just going to retreat. Now I wonder which Pumpkaboo I should use, because if I use this one, it's pretty open for a double KO. If I use this one, no, yeah, gonna use this one. It's a rough decision, but I don't think it's very clear cut on which one to use. Not entirely sure, to be honest. Get my 2 prizes for the Lucario, another Night Marcher, the other Sycamore, which could be interesting. But if he gets a KO here, I will definitely be tempted to use teammates in order to get Bronzong out. And an Ultra Ball to get more Night Marchers in my discard pile, though I don't think I will need them. My opponent uses Sycamore. Let's see what he discarded. I really recommend you guys always check what your opponent discards with Ultra Balls, Compressors, and Sycamore, because the more information you have, the better. Now, he discarded a lot of resources, which is great for us. There's the Crobat, so he has a potential KO there. Now, he takes a KO. If we leave another Night Marcher powered up, we are golden because he doesn't have the potential to place damage counters. 3 damage counters. He can only place 2 with Golbat. Therefore, okay, do I want a revive here? I think I do. I'll be down to 1 prize though, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, gonna Versus Seeker. I want to guarantee that I win. How do I do this? The following way. Going to teammates for a revive and Bronzong or Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball. Revive and Ultra Ball. With those 2 cards, first off, I'm going to use the Ultra Ball, get rid of the Lampent and their Jirachi. I am going to get Bronzong out. Yep. There's the Bronzong. Now, I only need 1 Night Marcher for next turn. That is all I need. Therefore, yeah, if I have 1 active and 2 powered up or almost powered up, I should be in a pretty amazing position. Now, the question here is, who do I attach the DCE to? Pumpkaboo requires the Dimension Valley. Therefore, if I attach the DCE to Joltik and he counters my Stadium, I will need a Stadium and another energy. Yeah, I don't think it matters thanks to Metal Links, but just in case, I am going to separate the energy this way. This way I can either top deck an energy, a metal energy, or use Metal Links. Or if he KOs this guy and counters the Stadium, all I need is a counter Stadium, which we have already. I'm gonna use the Acro Bike just to thin our deck even further. Gonna get the Versus Seeker. We haven't seen my opponent play any of these Stadiums, so I'm fine with discarding 1 of them. And this Versus Seeker guarantees we have a teammates next turn, just in case we have to do extra damage or something like that. As you saw, we dealt 320 damage. That means there's 8 Night Marchers in my discard pile. This one will be 9. So it doesn't matter what he benches, there's nothing that will resist the hits except for a Whaler DX. And the fact that he has already played a supporter and we have Lysander in our hand means there is absolutely no way we lose this game. The 2 damage counters are irrelevant, he can't KO anything with them. He cannot attack twice. We are down to 1 prize. Therefore, we have this game absolutely won. He does counter the stadium, but what do we have here? Our own stadium. So if that was his strategy, he should have attacked targeted Joltik attached to Golbat and done 10 to everyone. That way he eliminated the threats that didn't need Dimension Valley. Although with Metal Links I could simply retreat, Metal Links, retreat, and be done with it. Now I even have the energy, so I'm just gonna Night March away and we win the first game. Pretty straightforward game. That's why I like this deck. It ran beautifully and you only use 2 supporters. Now I'm gonna have nightmares to think what would happen if you face off against a turn 1 Trevenant. That will be pretty difficult to see, but we'll see how we do. Let's get on to our second game. Hopefully we do just as good. I'm very happy with how the deck ran on that first game, and I think we made all the best plays possible in order to guarantee our win at the end. We could have gotten a bit complacent because our opponent wasn't threatening us too much, but in the end you want to take the least amount of risks possible. That's really what you want to do. Now going second with any other deck, I would think it's not ideal. Getting the 2 revives is not ideal, but going second with this deck is okay because you then have the potential to 1-hit KO whatever is up front. So we'll see. I think against decks like Seismitoad even, you kind of want to go second, but since I don't get to decide, now we're up against a Vespiquen deck. This is going to be a very interesting matchup because I won't need too many Night Marchers to KO. Therefore, I'm thankful that the revives won't be important. What will be important for sure though will be who gets the first KO and who misses a KO. That will probably define the game. And okay, he plays Banette, which prevents evolution. That's pretty big. He also plays Ace Trainer and he plays Mr. Mime, so a lot of techs. A lot of techs. That Ace Trainer, I'm pretty sure towards the end of the game there will be a situation where the game will be decided. As long as we draw off nicely from the Sycamore, I'm pretty sure there will be a situation where the game gets decided by what I draw off of the Ace Trainer. That's definitely an important card to consider, either that or Judge, because you do want to try to prevent your opponent from attacking. Now, he attached to Jirachi. That tells me he expects me to attach a DCE and take a KO right now, which is a very smart move, but I'm not going to fall for it. The first Compressor should always go towards discarding Lampents, I believe, unless you're stuck, and checking to see what's in the deck and what isn't. Bronzong, I'm gonna count my Night Marchers as well. 1, 2, 3. The active one 4, and that's 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4 of them. Okay, now 1, 1 Bronzong is in there. Now I want to see the DCEs. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so what is priced? I wonder. I'm not gonna get rid of anything else. Well, I mean, in terms of trainer cards, I think I'm just gonna get rid of Night Marchers at this point. All of the Pumpkaboos will be pretty important. I might want to get rid of Hex Maniac, but I think Lysander is going to be a lot more important, and some metal energies, so that we can metal links. Yep, I'm gonna get rid of one Joltik. That should be enough for us to one-hit KO every single Pokemon available to my opponent at this time. Fortunate that I have to discard the Verse Seeker, but what will you do? Wow, I did not get another basic Pokemon to get the Ultra Ball though, which I'm very glad to look at. And there's another 2 Verse Seekers. That sucks. Get the Dimension Valley, so we have the potential KO here. But Jirachi is going to be a problem for sure. I don't think I can't not take the KO though, because of what I have in my hand. I'm gonna get Shaman, and I really hope I get another Night Marcher. I really hope I do, along with the Bronzor or the Ultra Ball to find the Bronzor. It's only 4 cards though, so my hopes aren't too high. I do get the Bronzor though. And I will play my own Jirachi. Jirachi seems like it'll be important here. And I'm gonna take the KO. That's not bad. He attached to Jirachi, so his hand might not be too great, and that's why he needs to buy himself a turn. We do have... Okay, if it discards, he prevents all effects of attacks, including damage. Therefore, I really need... Okay, he promoted Combi. He definitely has a Vespiquen in his hand, I think. Yep, there it is. If he has the DCE, I'll be in trouble. So his hand was pretty okay. He is digging for the DCE. He runs the dual Banette line actually. And he runs a lot of them. Wow. Did he whiff the DCE? I really don't think so, just based on how many cards he has right now. But he hasn't attached it yet. Yeah, he goes for the Jirachi stall play. So even though that's not ideal, it does buy us a turn, potentially. If I had the Lysander in my discard pile. Now no Shaman for my opponent is very interesting as well. I might want to do that myself. Attack with Shaman, I won't do any damage, but I will bring it back to my hand. He does get rid of the Shaman, so 2 Shamans, wow. So he wants to play the price trade-off, and he doesn't want to lose it, definitely. This Floatstone is definitely way too important right now, so I really need... Yeah, that doesn't help me though. I think... It's unfortunate. There'll be 3 Versus Seekers already in my discard pile after I use Sycamore this turn. But I can't not do it, you know? I am going to Ultra Ball, get another Night Marcher, get a Pumpkaboo, bench this guy, and I am going to Sycamore here. Only 1 Verse Seeker is really very unfortunate, especially because of Lysanders, though if my opponent just decides not to play any Shaman down, I should be okay still. I am going to Metal Links onto this Pumpkaboo. Yep. I will bench a Joltik, and this Floatstone is probably what's going to be the difference in this game. I will bring up this guy Shaman, and who do I promote afterwards? This guy has a 1 retreat cost. So actually I might want to use my own Jirachi here as a sacrificial lamp. I have to sacrifice something, so it's either Jirachi or Joltik. I think Joltik is a smarter play. That's what I'm gonna sacrifice, the Joltik. No damage at all, we save the TCE. He doesn't have the protection anymore. I do expect Joltik to go down, I really do. But that is perfectly fine. I think my opponent's best chance here, because we are ahead, is definitely to KO Bronzong here. What is that? Shuppet, okay. So Shuppet isn't important right now, unless he evolves to the one that prevents the effects of the tool cards. That would be pretty important for him. He runs all Psychic Energy though. He's going to take the KO? No, because I resist. Okay, he goes for Giovanni's Scheme. Does he draw or does he do plus 20 damage? If he draws, I think he's forgetting. Yeah. Okay, he didn't forget. And there's a Shaman, so there's a potential target for us. Based on my hand, I don't think we will need to use Shaman. Or we might need to, just to get the Lysander out. But I'm pretty okay with our position right now. What I don't want to do is fall into the trap of allowing him to take a KO with a Shaman onto a Joltik. He didn't do it last turn, he decided to attach to Vespiquen. So I am perfectly fine with that. I will be taking a KO here. This Float Zone, wow. It's probably going to be one of the most important cards in my deck right now. I don't think he plays any stadium cards. But I don't think I can afford to get rid of this guy just yet. There's no need for me. I'm gonna play the Compressor, thin out my deck from useless cards, such as Hex, Maniac. There's a Lysander we need. There's teammates, but we don't have any more versus Seekers. One is prized, our last is prized. Therefore, I'm gonna get the 2 Metal Energy, just so I can keep using Metal Links later on. Now, the thing here is, I think this was a misplay. Should have attacked with the TCE, because that's susceptible to Enhance Hammer. But I'm just gonna take the KO right now. Night March for 100 damage, more than enough. We get another prize. What we need is our 25% chance to get that Versus Seeker, potentially. But what we really need is to draw the Lysander, actually. That's what we really need. See, we are trading KOs, but I did get the first KO. And he has a Shaman in play, and I don't. That is a big difference. Another important factor could be the DCE count. That could really come into play. But if he decides to KO Bronzong, I'll be fine, because I do have 2 Pumpkaboos powered up. I still have the Acro Bike as well. I have the potential for a Shaman. Like, I could get rid of a lot of the cards in my hand and take a KO on Vespiquen, or rather on Shaman, whenever I need to. There's the Ace Trainer though, so like I said, drawing well off of this Ace Trainer will be pretty important, and the fact that 3 Versus Seekers are already in the discard pile might force our hand into using Shaman here. But that's fine, because I am ahead. I am still very much ahead. I do get the other Pumpkaboo, which is pretty awesome. I got 2 stadiums, which are pretty useless. Yeah. Look at how many cards he has left. He definitely doesn't have any stadiums in his deck. And that deck doesn't really need any. So this will be a very close finish to the game. Metal Links is going to end up very important, and Jirachi might be important as well. There might be a point where I need to buy myself a turn with Jirachi. He has only played 2 Versus Seeker. no Lysander in the discard pile yet. Even prizes, and wow, I top deck the teammates here. So that's pretty huge. I'm going to Metal Links onto this Pumpkaboo. As you can see how important this floatstone is. It's so important that I'm really wondering why I only run one of them. Now with the teammates, going to get the Lysander, and I think Shaman or the DC are my other plays. I don't know. The DC isn't. It might be, but I don't think it is. Stadiums aren't an issue, so it might be Shaman actually. Although what else could I need? No, I think it's definitely the DC. I don't even want to be tempted into Shaman. Although if I don't miss an attack, Shaman isn't the issue, because I'll be down to 2 prizes first. Nah, I don't think he runs Enhanced Hammer either. So getting the DC is perfectly fine. I am going to retreat, promote this Pumpkaboo. I will attach the DC to this guy, though I don't want to attack with it, and I will take my KO. He is a bit more pressured into getting the third Vespiquen as a follow-up to KO, but just because we have the Lysander, and that card helps us in terms of getting us quicker to something we need in our deck, or recovering from another potential Ace Trainer. I think we're in an amazing position here. He's going to Ace Trainer once again. He's definitely, yeah, going to Ace Trainer. So, and there's the DCE to Shaman. We're still okay because we are 1 prize ahead, and whenever he decides to not take a prize with Shaman, that's another turn we will be ahead. I get the DCE, the last DCE out. I get another Joltik just in case I need a last attacker. But all I need to do is make sure Shaman either stays on the bench or just doesn't take a KO, and not bench my own Shaman when we are tied 2-2 in prizes, or he's down to 2 and I'm down to 1. That's all I need to make sure that it doesn't happen. With that in mind, I do get the trainer's mail, which is nice. That could potentially help me get the Lysander out next turn. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to use this Night Marcher to take the KO. I'm not going to attach an energy here, and he's forced to have the DCE and the Vespiquen to take a KO. If he attacks Shaman, then this Pumpkaboo takes another prize card. That Ultra Ball off of the prizes means we have access to Shaman next turn, and if I'm not mistaken, there should be 4 versus Seeker. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, he still has access to 1 versus Seeker. That could potentially be a problem. It really could potentially be a problem here. I guess I should have benched the Joltik then, because if he Lysandered, that meant he didn't Ace Trainer. Not entirely sure. There's first off a Sacred Ash. So if he retreats and takes a KO with Vespiquen, I'm gonna go all in next turn to get the KO on that Shaman. If he attacks, then all I have to do is be patient. He attaches to Banette, or to Shuppet. Discard a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Oh, to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Wow. So he promotes the Pumpkaboo with the Floatstone. That's fine. He does take the KO, which is unfortunate. That's something I didn't want to happen, as he gets rid of the Floatstone, and the other Pumpkaboo, but we are tight in prices. Therefore, as long as I get a Night Marcher powered up, which is exactly what I'm doing, I'm even going to use Metal Links. I should have used the escape rope. Well, I'm still gonna use it. That escape rope should guarantee the win, to be honest. He only has one option. He won't have the ability to use Vespiquen next turn. I do get the KO with Night March. He might discard the TCE. All I have to do is retreat and attack with Pumpkaboo. If he counters the stadium, we have Metal Links. For the Pumpkaboo, we have a Metal Energy. So there is absolutely no way we lose this game today. That means two for 2 wins for Night March. Pretty amazing. I honestly thought by choosing this deck the games would be a bit quicker, but as you can see, this video is already over 40 minutes long. And yeah, pretty happy with how the deck ran. Bronson, as you can see, was also the MVP. GG Alex Wilson TX. He'll be up on YouTube on Monday. On my channel. I don't want to say YouTube because that word gets filtered on YouTube on Monday in my channel. And I just Night March for the KO. Good game, Alex Wilson TX. I hope you're watching. And yeah, that'll be all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Like I said, help me with the support, guys. Help me get those 30 likes in every video. That will make me forever happy. I promise you. That should be the goal for every single video. Make it 30 likes, please. If you can consistently do it throughout the whole week, I will try to do something special for the next week as thanks to you guys, alright? I'll see you guys tomorrow in Spanish or on Wednesday in English. Bye bye.